For those of you that don't know, this is Rocky. Hey, Rocky. How you doing, buddy? You're maxing and relaxing, chilling all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of the school? And I'm Joe. I'm his owner. Yeah, right, I'm his butler. But I wanted to make a video today because I privated a video a week ago due to massive misinformation leading to ganging up on the video. And quite frankly, I knew there was going to be backlash because in the video I was defending service animals and saying your fake service animal doesn't act the way my service animal does. So obviously people decided to be vitriolic. And before we get into that video in the comments, I do want to start by giving you what is the actual definition of a service animal. Well, the ADA, and you can go to ada.gov, it'll be in the description, you can look it up. I will link directly to that page. Defines a service animal, and pardon me for paraphrasing a little bit, I shoot these off the cuff, one take, all my videos are, including my 200,000 sub firearms channel. The ADA defines a service animal as a canine, used to include miniature horses, but it doesn't anymore, at least not the wording I saw, that is trained to perform a function for a disabled person with, for example, PTSD, blind, reminders to take their medications, because dogs can tell time. They have a circadian rhythm, even though they are polymorphic sleepers, kind of like me, etc. And it says, and this is very important, so this will come up later too, or any other functions required in the assistance of a disabled person. Okay, so that's very important. How does that differ from an emotional support animal? An emotional support animal can be a cat, it can be a bird, it can be a lizard. I have an emotional support Glock. You can have an emotional support whatever, and it's not a service animal or whatever. And because they didn't win the US contract, there's no service Glock. But, sorry, I digress. An emotional support animal helps with anxiety, helps keep blood pressure down. They actually serve a purpose when they're trained to be an emotional support animal. Too many people think that by slapping an emotional support animal vest or the label or signing up for one of those $90 certificates, that's going to allow them to take their animals places that service animals are not allowed. I'm going to caveat that by explaining my dog is in my medical records because my primary care physician documented that I have a service animal. So I have extra medical proof. Anyways, you can't take an emotional support animal in places that you can take a service animal. When I was in the hospital for 8 days with a PICC line in my arm, sorry, I thought it was bleeding, they had to allow Rocky in my room, and everywhere except the surgery rooms, surgery suites, CAT scan, and MRIs, because even though technically I'm allowed in there, I'm the patient. I'm not there for a non-trivial reason. And you can't have a dog in a sterile field, although he's cleaner than me. So anyways, he spent 8 days with me, and that actually brings me to the first part when I was giving you that whole addendum or the actual law. The hospital I was staying with, the hospitalist came in and asked me for proof that he was a service animal, and then handed me a document that the hospital had printed. Now, did he print it that day? I don't know. I have a picture of it on my phone because there is litigation currently being pursued against this hospital, so that should tell you exactly what you need to know, wherein they tried claiming that I was asking the staff to take Rocky out. If you have a service animal, you are 100% responsible for that animal, including grooming, bathrooms, feeding, etc. So you cannot take your animal, service animal, into a hospital and expect the staff to help him, to take him out for his walks, to clean up after him. And I never asked. I never did. In fact, the day they cut my foot, ripped me apart, I had to walk him downstairs because there was no wheelchair available and there was no transportation person available to take me down there. So this hospitalist came in and tried bullshitting, basically, and I had to show him the actual law because they cut out the or any other functions related to service for a disabled person. They cut that out. They ended it at PTSD, mental illness, inability to take meds or reminder to take meds or pull a wheelchair. They cut out the last part because they thought I was stupid. A security guard, all the power to the security guy. I wish I got your name, dude, because I heard you in the hallway. They're standing outside trying to discuss it after I explained to them why their document was actually illegal. And the security guard comes up and says, no, you can ask him 2 questions, which questions I already explained, and you can, you can't ask for documentation because they're not required. You can't ask him to do anything. So the hospitalist came in and they took the paper back. I'd already taken a picture of it. They took the paper back and they brought me a scooter the next day, so at least I could scoot around and like a motorized electric scooter, so that I could take him out. And that's what I did for the entire stay. I didn't ask anybody to help me. I didn't ask anybody for anything. It got to the point where I had to turn off my own IV machine because they were ignoring me, because either the nurse was afraid of the dog, which we'll come back to, etc., 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 etc. It just, ignorant people create issues. So after that, we've been kind of just relaxing, and I did a video where I was at the grocery store and I said, this is a real service dog for you people that claim you have a service animal. It's not cool, it's not bueno, you shouldn't be doing it. See how he responds. I called him back to me, he turned around, came back to me, and I said, sit, and he laid down. Partially my fault, and I'll explain that in a second. But let's get into the comments. This person wrote a 3.5 paragraph diatribe about why he didn't think Rocky was a service animal. Although he did edit it, he didn't change it, he didn't retract it, but hi buddy. He's just sitting staring at me. I gotta show you. Hold on. Those are hoodies, you should buy one. Boy. Look at him. That's what he did when we were at the hospital. He's a good boy. He's always paying attention to me. That's the important thing. Unless he falls asleep. You gonna fall asleep? Okay. He said a service animal must heal at all times. A service animal must heal at all times. No. A lot of that comes from people that watch YouTube shorts too much, people that doom scroll, people that are, you're in dog talk, dog tube, whatever you want to call it. And this person was making this claim because they saw there's a couple of trainers that I saw when I was doom scrolling in the hospital because I had nothing better to do. And in those videos, there's the guy that has the black German Shepherd something mix, and that dog heals. Well, that guy has his dog 100% off leash, or 99% of the time off leash, unless he's in a situation there'll be other dogs, etc. So his dog is trained to be off leash. However, that dog isn't always healed. That dog is near him. He heals on command. Rocky comes on command. I don't force him to do things such as the heel Hitler. I don't care about that. That's not his function as my service animal. If you need that ultimate level of control, you either live in an extremely urban environment where there's many people. I live in a town of 3,000 people, or you really want to have that level of control. All the more power to you. All the more props. Good. You want to overtrain your dog or train a lot your dog? 100% you're right. Rocky does not need to heal. Rocky can do whatever he wants as long as he comes back on command, as long as I am in control of Rocky at all times, which I am. He's always on a leash. In that video, and in many videos, you'll see him walking. Now, when I first started doing it at the park with him on leash, he pulled a little bit. But when we're just walking down the road, he doesn't pull his leash. He stays on the leash and he doesn't pull. He goes to the end of it and he just walks, etc., etc. That's going to be my new... If you hear me say etc., etc., you have to drink a fifth of vodka. If you're still alive at the end of this video, give it a thumbs up. But that is the first fallacy he had. Service animals are not required to heal. Second thing he said was, he's walking in front of you. A service animal doesn't walk in front of a handler or an owner. In what world would you expect a dog to walk through an urban environment glued to the side of my legs or between my legs, or walking behind me, which would defeat the purpose of a service animal, because the service animal needs to alert, and if he's behind you going or whatever they do, some dogs just snap, some dogs try to paw, but if my dog is trying to indicate and he's behind me and I can't see him, how do I know it? Oh, he's going to pull on your leash. Don't type that. Okay, don't try to get, if he. Rocky's way of indicating is he barks, he stops, and then if I don't respond, he jumps and puts his paws on me to tell me I need to sit down. That's how he indicates. He stops, he barks, and then he indicates by jumping. Now, he doesn't bark loud. He does this weird, I call it a yerf, when he wants to indicate. All things we've learned and trained together. So, yes, a dog, service animal, can walk in front of its handler. Another thing they tried pointing out was that he was sniffing things in the grocery store. We were in a dog food aisle, number one, but we were in a grocery store, and he claimed that ADA restricts that because it's unsanitary. A dog's nose and mouth are cleaner than any human's. And unless you muzzle your face every time you go out in public like we had to do during COVID, you are breathing more bacteria onto things than my dog, who was sniffing the bottom shelf of dog food. Service animals are allowed to sniff. They are sniff-based, scent-based animals. Dogs use their nose much more than they use their ears or their eyes. This is a very strong thing for him. That's how he can smell when my blood sugar is off. And yes, your blood smells different when you have high blood pressure. You have what are called ketones. Not only would he smell it in, like dogs can smell way better than humans, but your breath. When you have high ketones in your breath smells. Your urine smells. And he's able to detect that because he sniffs. So yes, a service animal will sniff. Get over it. So the next thing, and this is all from the same video because I insulted people that have fake service animals. And that's the only reason. All the other videos on his channel, it's never an issue. If I clarify something, they all leave it alone. But because I called out people that use their animals in a way that they aren't actually animals, and I guarantee you this guy was either a fake trainer or a fake owner, whatever. He then went on to say that because I was issuing him commands while he walked in front of me, that he wasn't a service animal. A dog walking in front of you is fine. Issuing commands to a dog that's walking in front of you is 100% common. If you watch even that trainer whose dog heels between his legs every time, he's always issuing him commands when he sees other animals or he wants him to do something. When I want him to go left, I can tug the leash or I can say this way and I do a click. When he hears the click, he knows that I'm telling him to do something. So to say that a service animal doesn't need commands is 100% false. If that was true, you would never talk to it again for the course of its entire life. Oh, well, the dog should know what it's doing at all times. Dogs have the intelligence of a 2.5-year-old. Let a 2.5-year-old loose in a store and see how much shit they get into. They're actually smarter than a 2.5, but when I'm talking about recognition and understanding of words, most only understand a few hundred, some can recognize thousands. Rocky is smart. I haven't tested the depth of it, but he learns words very well. What else? What else was there? At the end of that video, I told him to sit, and he starts stretching out with his front paws, and then his butt is in the air, and I think I ended the video there because it was pointless to keep filming at that section. But what Rocky does is when we're out in public, I have him stand in line. If the line is going to be a while, I tell him to down. I tell him down, all the way down. I use this command and I put my hand towards the ground. When he's on a leash in front of me, I can't just do that. So when I say it, I sometimes say sit. Honestly, that's probably my fault. What I say to him is down. He doesn't sit on his ass. He rarely does. He always plants fully in a, not like a sprung motion, but he's sitting with his paws ready to get up and serve. So when I tell him to sit and he goes down like that, that's how he always does it. He understands that when I'm commanding him that he might be there for a minute. So he stretches his front legs and then sits down flat on the ground. 100% fine. That is absolutely fine, as long as you have control of the animal. And there's been many cases, I haven't filmed a lot of them, but a lot of cases where people are like, oh, I'm training my service animal, and the dog is barking nonstop at Rocky, usually, and Rocky's just sitting there going, what? Like, I was in a pawn shop back in Virginia, and this lady had a golden something, and this dog would not stop barking from the instant it saw Rocky. So the lady takes her dog out because her dog's not a service animal, and then she's like, oh, well, he's in training. Can he come in? I'm like, I don't care. My dog didn't react to your dog when they walked by each other. What makes you think I care if he's in the same building? So the owners of the pawn shop said, yeah, that's fine, because she told them he was in training. And the instant the dog walked in, he got defensive, hunched back, started barking at Rocky, came up a little bit, would not stop barking. Rocky was literally laying on the carpet while I'm doing paperwork and just looking at the dog. He's like, what is that, man? Is that a dog or is that an alarm clock? So control of your animal is what is required for a service animal. Now, nobody can ask me to demonstrate his abilities. Nobody can ask me for documentation. Nobody can ask me for proof of my disability without violating HIPAA. The two questions you're allowed to ask: is he trained to perform a function for somebody who's disabled, and what does he do? Those are the only two questions you can ask. So let's talk about why I even made this video, because I want you guys to understand something. I've been doing YouTube for 10 years now. When you consume videos versus make the videos, when you consume the videos rather than doing a lot of research, it's going to lead to a lot of issues. AI is stupid. A massive amount of YouTube videos is dumber, because when you see somebody put up a short that has 14 million views, and I've had them, and then you see it starts trickling down. Even if their information is wrong, you start seeing copycats. And then what happens with YouTube is the most popular videos stay up at the top, and then it starts going. Rocky has, 500 subs, and he gets thousands of views per short, so I'm sure that's why he eventually pops up in a lot of people's feeds. But don't take that information. Go to ada.gov, and whatever state you live in, check the laws. I made sure to do that, especially when I was coming to Texas, because I knew he would be outside with me a lot. And I made sure that on my phone, I have my browser bookmarked. In my browser bookmarks, the very first bookmark on my browser is ADA. So I have both Texas and the federal statutes. I don't remember if I have Virginia on there, because I left Virginia back in April. But please, don't denigrate the honor of others to make yourself feel better, because these people trying to claim that they know better while also being completely wrong denigrates disabled people. It shows their level of maturity, their level of knowledge, their level of understanding of what an actual service animal is, and it also shows the kind of person you are. When I make a video saying my dog's a real service dog to the people that are using fake service dogs, this is a problem, and you decide to defend one side or the other even though you have no dog in the fight, that is insane. You're free to comment. You're free to disagree with me. You're free to ask me questions. One thing I do is I have no problem answering a well thought out, well spoken, and well researched question. But when something is blatantly wrong, when something is absolutely wrong, and you're just trying to show off and you incite others to join in, you gotta go. I'm not even going to entertain you because you think you know what you're talking about. I have no idea what I'm talking about until I do my research. I have no idea if I'm right until I do my research. And as demonstrated in a lot of my videos, when I'm wrong, I admit it. Also, my right eye will not stop wandering. It's an indicator I'm getting tired. Look up myasthenia gravis. That's it. Rocky is currently almost completely asleep, so I'm going to let him take a nap. I woke him up, and now he's biting his own leg. Rocky, do you have anything to tell the people before we go? Hold on a second. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna hold you to it. I'm gonna hold you to it. Hey, boy. Hey, Rock. You got anything to tell the people? Huh? Uh-huh. Yeah? Nothing? You my good boy? Here, you want some ketchup? Have some ketchup. No? Okay, how about a treat? Oh, his ball fell. Yeah, that is a gun on my bed. It's Texas, bro. Oh no, I can't get the bag open, Rocky. You'll never have another treat again. You see his tongue? Do you see his tongue? Here you go. Take it. Take it. Fine. He always gets two. You good? All right. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you.